I love to work with somebody individually, take their individual problems and solve them,
Hmm.
take their specific ideas and make a product out of them. I'm not for the masses. And planner design and product design is so specific
Hmm.
and individual. You can't just, make a template and repeat. The
Yep.
point of my business is to be that boutique, niche, individual kind of business.
Welcome to the Entrepreneur's Blueprint. I'm Courtney Cook, founder of Monarch COO, where I help mission-driven entrepreneurs grow their businesses. Each week, I sit down with inspiring entrepreneurs to explore the stories behind their successes and challenges. Whether you're just dreaming of starting a business or already building one, this podcast is here to show you that entrepreneurship is more attainable than it might seem, with insights for every stage of the journey. Let's dive in to today's conversation and see what it takes to build a business. Today, I'm delighted to welcome Heather Harris to the podcast. Heather is the founder of Copper Bottom Design Co., a boutique product development agency specializing in custom planner design and seamless overseas production. With a Bachelor of Fine Arts in Graphic Design from Oswego State University, Heather's career spans over 2 decades in the print and design industry. She's began her journey at Graphic Image, collaborating with esteemed clients like Tiffany & Co., Barney's, and Brooks Brothers. Heather's expertise has been sought after by numerous brands, and her commitment to quality and client success has made her a trusted partner in the stationery industry. Welcome to the podcast, Heather.
Oh, thank you for having me. I'm happy to be here.
Will you kick us off by sharing about your business? So, what do you do? Who do you serve? And how long have you been a business owner?
I have been a business owner. It's funny. Officially, Copper Bottom came to be a thing in 2016, but I had been freelancing for many, many years, designing planners. Um, so basically, I've been doing planners for 20 plus years
Wow.
now, um, and was freelancing without an official business name for a couple
Okay.
years. So anyway, it's been a while. I serve other small businesses in the stationery industry. So I'm almost like a ghostwriter where I design the entire product line, help with product development, designing those products, and getting them produced overseas. So um, I'm behind the scenes in the business, but an integral part of people's businesses by creating their entire product line and helping in the product development of things. And I love it. I'm happy to be behind the scenes helping out in
Yeah.
that way. It's great. So much fun.
So you're working with the visionaries themselves and these founders generally, and bringing kind of what their vision is to life.
Yes, absolutely. Yep.
Cool. So how did you get started? Like, was there a specific experience that you were like, and it sounds like it started with freelancing, but what was the experience that kind of led you to, okay, I think I'm just going to do this on my own and freelance. And how did that come about?
Yeah. It's definitely a specific story. And I fell into this role, but now in hindsight, looking back, it makes complete sense. Um, I went to college for graphic design, had been doing graphic design and worked at Graphic Image and doing those planners, and then went out on my own. And at first, I wanted to create a greeting card company
Okay.
and design greeting cards. And that was my thing. That was my idea. I wanted to create products for myself, have a brand, much like my clients do
Yeah.
now. And so I went to what is now called Proof to Product. It was paper camp.
Mm-hmm.
And I went to a paper camp to learn how to sell wholesale and do all the things. And having my background in making planners in that wholesale, I had already been to trade shows. I knew kind of a lot about the industry, but I was out of my element. I don't know. I was my worst client. I couldn't design things for myself. If somebody says, design a greeting card for me, I can do it. But
Yeah.
coming up with the idea on my own and making it for myself and critiquing myself was very difficult. So I loved Paper Camp and kept in touch with everybody and was in the Facebook group one day. And somebody randomly asked about how do you source something in China? And I was like, oh, I know this. I had worked at many places. In Graphic Image, we were printing in South Korea. with Mom Agenda, we were doing China. Um, and Mom Agenda at this point, I was just freelancing for them. I had also had a job at Candlewick Press, which is a children's book publisher,
Hmm.
and we outsourced in China and Vietnam and all these countries. So I was like, oh, how do they not know that? And I kind of responded, and like my inbox lit up. Everybody was like, oh my goodness, give me more information. How do you do this? And I was like, wow, something that was just part of my everyday job. People didn't know how to do that. And it's funny when you think, I was just talking to my sister about this the other day, and it's like you think things are so obvious because they're part of your everyday,
Yeah.
but other people don't know this. So
Right.
anyway, that grew. I started getting an influx of inquiries, and Emily Lay was one of the inquiries about helping with things in China. And I thought, huh. And I was like, maybe I'm on, maybe this is the business. Maybe helping people get products made in China is the business. And so I kind of ran with it and took people as they came to me, and then officially branded myself as Copper Bottom Design in 2016. But it was really just like one little message in a
Hmm.
Facebook group that created this whole business. I had never in my wildest dreams thought people would have questions about that and wouldn't know how to do that. And
Yeah.
so now, obviously, doing this for many years, yeah, people don't know how to do that. Like, that's how I get clients. And it's confusing and it's hard. And
Yeah.
um, I'm happy to help. I love it.
Yeah. That's really cool. So what were kind of those first stepping stones that you put into place to get things rolling and like, okay, this is an official business?
Um, I think, well, I wanted to make sure that I could have clients and keep clients and
Yeah.
make money.
Yeah.
So sending it, knowing that I was getting contracts and having people um, continually coming back to me year after year, Mom Agenda being one of them,
Hmm.
um, was like, okay, this is solid. I can do this.
Yeah.
I can make a living doing this. So then I set out and I got my LLC and I set up my bank accounts. And I was the only person in my business for probably 5 years before I took on my first. They're all contractors. Everybody who works with me are contractors, but it was somebody who was in the business day to day rather than just doing
Mm,
an outsourced project.
yeah. That's
Um,
amazing. So how long
yeah,
have you had a team then?
I think it was like 2020.
Okay.
I had always had
Cool.
proofreaders working for me
Yeah.
because everything I
That would be
design,
hard.
I
Yeah.
need to get it proofread.
Yeah.
And from working in publishing
Mhm.
at Candlewick Press, I mean, just knowing the importance of proofreading, and it's calendars and dates. I mean, you
Yeah.
have to check those. So
Yeah.
I've always had, at least three contracted proofreaders
Sweet.
um, around. And then I think it was officially 2020. Gosh, it was before the pandemic. So maybe it was 2019. Anyway, one of my proofreaders was eager to take on more work. And so she came in. Her name is Amy, and she helps with production now and has been updating planners. And she's eager to learn more about the business and get more hours. And she's helping me grow. It's amazing.
That's super cool.
Yeah.
So, has there been some sort of challenge in the process of getting your just anytime in your the life of your business? Any particular challenge where you're like, "Oof, that really hit me hard."
Yeah. I think there's the obvious challenges of, producing things overseas. And when the pandemic hit, that was very difficult. Um, and even before that, in 2018, um, tariffs were introduced on products that we were importing from China.
Mhm.
And so that was difficult. And, it was 25%. And so all of a
Mhm.
sudden, all of my clients' bills went up by 25%, which was significant. That's
Yeah.
huge.
Yep.
And so it was a lot of trying to switch manufacturers and get better pricing. And then 2 years later, the pandemic hits. And so then you have, shipping problems and
Mhm.
factories closing down. And that was a lot to weigh, and now there's more tariffs that are happening, which is just difficult again. So I think what I figured out is there's always going to be a hard thing in business. There's always going to be a challenge. It's going to happen. It's inevitable. I think the biggest challenge about facing those challenges is how you deal with it with your personal life, and how you can just keep pushing through and showing up when things are hard, when you kind of would rather bury your head in the sand. Um,
Yep. What do you do in those situations? Like, what are there things or tactics that you have that, like, okay, this is something I do to help keep me motivated to keep going?
I'm terrible at that. That is definitely where I fail miserably. I do not take care of myself. Um, I I put my head down and I do the work,
Yeah.
but I never had tactics on how to handle that stress personally, and it really showed up in my health in the past couple years. And so now I'm having to pay attention to it,
Mhm.
um, which is, bad. It's like you're always last, right? You have kids, you have a
Yep.
job, you own the business. You can't
Mhm.
just, clock out and forget about everything.
Yeah.
And yeah, it manifests in other ways. And so now I'm learning how to take care of myself and be
Yep.
healthier, and um, trying to meditate. I'm a type A personality, and it's hard to make my mind stop, but
Mhm.
I'm working on it,
Yep.
and I
It's a
like it.
process. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a process. Yeah.
And even in that, you've been running Copper Bottom now for at least, obviously, you've been in the industry 20 years, but specifically Copper Bottom really having like this big looming, like, I'm carrying all this for the last 10
Mm,
years. It's always like I see so often that when business owners reach that 10-year mark, a lot changes of like, okay, this is going to be a big season of transition because we have to.
yeah.
We're at this point that we have to.
Yep. Yep. Absolutely. I think even when I hired employees, I now have two Amy's working with
Nice.
me, and in the very beginning, with each of them, um, I would do their job.
Mhm.
And I had a hard time delegating. And it was funny because one of the Amy's would send me an email and say, "Have you been doing my job this morning?" And I'm like, uh-huh,
Uh,
I have 100%. And I will back off. I am so sorry. Like,
That's
it's
awesome.
hard to shut off.
Mhm.
But now, yes, around the 10-year mark, I'm like, okay, I think maybe I will take Fridays off and step back
Mhm.
and let other people do things. And now I'm giving, Amy is now taking charge of the getting new quotes and moving factories to other countries,
Nice.
for me, which is huge. It's
Yeah.
extremely stressful. I mean, obviously, we're working on things together. I'm not just letting her, you know,
Yeah.
flail, but she's in charge and I'm the backup. And I
That's
am
awesome.
really enjoying that.
Yeah.
Um, so I've learned that lesson in letting go.
Mhm. Yeah,
Yeah.
especially if it's something she's, like, eager to do. Um,
Yeah.
why not?
I
And
know.
not that you're leaving her to the wolves, you're totally there, but, let her take it and run. That's
I
awesome.
know. And it's an opportunity to teach her.
Mhm.
She doesn't have a publishing background. And
Yeah.
so I'm teaching her a new skill
Yeah.
that she'll be able to have for the rest of her life. And if anything happens with Copper Bottom, she can now go and
Yep.
work in a production department of a publishing company or
Mhm.
anything like that. And that's rewarding.
Yeah.
I like that aspect that I've
Yeah.
taught her um, a really good skill.
Yeah. Yeah, that's incredible, and it's hard, when people are looking for jobs, they're like, "Well, I need experience first before I can have experience," right? And the beauty of a small business is you have people who are willing to say, "Okay, I'm gonna teach you this from the ground up."
Hmm.
Um, that's really neat. So
Yeah.
I'm going to switch gears on you a little bit. Did you always know that you wanted to be an entrepreneur when you were a child? Do you owning your own business? Do you look back and think, oh, makes sense? Or is this also something that you were like, no, I've never would have ever guessed I'd be in this
Mm.
situation?
I guess the answer is yes, but I didn't know it. I didn't necessarily know the word entrepreneur.
Yeah.
I wanted to I was creative enough to want to build something and have it be my own.
Hmm.
I think at first I wanted to own a restaurant that you could bring your pets to, right?
Yep.
And so there was a pet section where your like dog or cat would be sitting over there, but yet you would be sitting over here in the human section eating. And that was my idea. And I wanted to create this restaurant. I used to talk about it all the time.
That's
And
awesome.
then, um, and then I would play store with my friends.
Hmm.
And it's like, I own the store. But then at the checkout, I would make them fill out this form with like their name, their address, their favorite color, all these things, which was ridiculous, but they happily played along.
Yeah.
And now I think back on it, I'm like, oh my goodness, that's kind of, I mean, you wouldn't write your favorite color in a planner, but that's kind of,
But
I mean, we're
also,
kind of very on the verge of like,
hmm,
stationery, writing things down. And um, so there's a small tie,
yeah.
definitely. And I did go to college with a graphic design major, not only because I loved graphic design and I could see a good career, but I also wanted the opportunity to freelance um, and do something on my own. I, was always thinking that I would have kids, and so I could freelance when kids were little, and
Hmm.
that I thought that was just a wise career move, so I could always dabble
Yeah.
um, when I wanted to. So I guess, yes, I didn't always know at the forefront of my mind that it was the plan, but I think it kind of was.
Yeah. Were your parents, did they work in the corporate world? Were they business owners or what was that like?
They worked in the corporate world.
Okay.
My mother didn't go to college, but she was, an executive assistant to presidents of companies.
Sweet.
She, was successful. My mother paid my entire college tuition in cash, and so I had no student loans.
Wow.
Like they're both
They
very
worked
hard
hard.
workers.
Yeah.
Um, And so I think I got my drive and my ambition and my hardworking nature from them. And then maybe the creative side of me was what wanted to start my own business.
Yeah. Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah.
I I love that it's so fun to kind of look back on your childhood, I think, which is why I love to ask these kinds of questions of like, what made you who you are today? Like,
Yeah.
yes, we are all unique, and I think we're given specific talents and things for a reason, but also foundationally, like our parents and our family
Hmm.
really help kind of foster that drive and that hard work and the tenacity that it takes to be an entrepreneur.
Yeah, absolutely. And my my maternal grandfather was very creative and made things out of wood. Um,
Okay,
and
cool.
he, was always making a sign, or, he had these wooden tulips, and, he would just like to
Yeah,
tinker. And so he was very creative that way. Um, and my dad's dad was creative too. They're an engineer kind of family. And so they,
sweet.
um, tinker in different ways, but,
Hmm.
um, still using their creative brains.
That's neat. That's really
Yeah.
neat. So, switching gears to just your business, what are your goals for your business over the next 12 months or so?
Yeah, last year the goal was to just kind of sustain. Was
Yeah.
to we did a lot of growing and building in 2023, creating new systems of onboarding and processes and standard operating procedures and all of that. So
Hmm.
2024 was just kind of like, okay, we've got all that in place. Let's just fine tune it and get better. 2025 was going to be my year. I was going to launch a new service. Um, but now that's been put on the back burner because we have all the tariffs to deal with.
Yeah.
And it's all hands on deck with the tariff situation. So maybe I'll launch that new service. I'm not going to say it because if it doesn't happen, then it's not out in the world.
Yeah.
But I'm hoping. I'm one of the Amy's is like there finalizing everything for the website, and we just don't have
Nice.
the bandwidth to perform the service.
Mhm.
So, we'll see. Right now, the goal is just keep our clients in business and
Yeah.
ourselves in business. So, um, but that's what we do best is to help people
Yep.
and make it through hard situations. So that's what we're doing.
What's your role for the next 12 months specifically? So how are you approaching like where you step in and where you're trying to back off and what does it look like to hopefully have Fridays off to
Yeah.
rest and recoup?
Yeah. I really would like to have more of the CEO role.
Mhm.
I've been working so much day to day performing the services, which I love. Um, but now I have this talented team that can
Yeah.
do that as well. And they're brilliant. I've hired all of them because they're smarter than I am in the editorial world or um, have different design talents. I have my contractor for design, Jenna, she's, you know, definitely got some illustration skills that I don't have. So
Mhm.
I have, everybody is smart in their own way. And then what I'm teaching them has really gotten me to a place where I might be able to step back and not do as much design, maybe only work on my favorite projects here
Mhm.
and there. And I want to build the business by bringing in some more clients, doing some marketing more. It's amazing that I've gotten to where I am today with very minimal marketing.
Mhm.
It's not my sweet spot. And I'm thinking I want to dip my toes in that and kind of, I don't know, being more of the face of the business and overseeing more things rather than being in the day to day. So that's the goal for me personally this year. And I'm I'm getting there. It's good.
Yeah, I think that's smart. That
Yeah.
seems like a really great next step for what the next, 10 years might look like for
Hmm.
Copper Bottom.
Yeah. I used to not want to have a big team and hire. I still don't want to be huge. I
Yeah.
like the small team, but um, a few extra people to bring in some more clients
Mhm.
wouldn't be bad.
Yeah.
So
Wouldn't be a bad deal at all.
yeah.
Cool. So is there a certain decision that you made that you've made recently or maybe in the past where you're like that had a major impact on the success that we've had so far?
Mm. I think trusting my intuition and
Nice.
growing slow. Those are two things that I kind of tell everybody. Trust your gut and grow slow. I I would get distracted by the shiny things and things other people are doing, but I something always held me back. Um, like creating courses and things like that. They've been on a goal sheet and in my mind, but something's been holding me back a little bit. And I think now looking back, I've realized that that's not really my sweet spot. I love to work with somebody individually, take their individual problems and solve them,
Mhm.
take their specific ideas and make a product out of them. I'm not for the masses. And planner design and product design is so specific
Mhm.
and individual. You can't just, make a template and repeat. The
Yep.
point of my business is to be that boutique, niche, individual kind of business.
Yeah.
We very much tailor everything we do to the specific client. Um, and I'm okay with that. I
Yeah.
think I love that. I love that everybody's different and I love to be able to help people and meet them at every different stage they're at. Um, so I think putting a pin in the course idea and those things really helped the business get to where we are today and
Yeah.
have the reputation we have.
Yeah.
Um, and I love that.
Mhm. Yeah, I think that's smart and I think when you're approaching what is the next season, where have we been and kind of reflecting on that, it's really important to just make sure that you are taking all of the learnings that you've learned over time and just prioritizing what is next,
Hmm.
where do we need to not worry about it. There's enough business for everyone, but let's focus on what really we do well. And I think that you have a great mindset to that rather than trying to appeal to everyone,
Yeah.
because that'll break.
And I think the dollars kind of show it when you really look at, when I look at my services and what service brings in what money, and
Yep.
you think about the clients, and I have retainer clients that I do their product lines,
Mm-hmm.
every quarter, and we're
Yep.
repeating and doing this. It's like I am part of their business. I really look at, well, my clients look at Copper Bottom as being their in-house creative services agency. I mean,
Yep.
we adhere to everybody else's guidelines. We just kind of easily move
Mm-hmm.
into everybody else's businesses and operate how they operate their business. And um, I think about creating templates or workshops or courses, and you think about the amount of work that goes into that and how many you have to sell to make that be profitable.
Yep.
If I can just get another retainer client, that's going to far outweigh financially a gazillion templates I can sell online.
Yep.
And there's more fulfillment in that. I've helped
Mm-hmm.
somebody build their business.
Yeah.
Um, I like to, get in there and be part of their business. I feel like I'm helping many different women's brands grow, and that's
Mm-hmm.
what's fulfilling to me.
Yeah. That is the piece where I feel like, I mean, online businesses are really great, and I do think there's a place probably for everyone to take a bit of that out and incorporate it into whatever they're doing. But also from a fulfillment standpoint, it's so fun to see the transformation right before your eyes of like, this is what the problem you came with. This is
Yep.
how we've solved it. And now I see how this has blessed, maybe other women or whoever that you're serving, and how cool you get to actually see that.
Yeah. And I mean, there's nothing wrong with courses. I've
Oh,
taken
for
many.
sure.
I
Yeah,
mean,
same.
I've
Love them.
taken, to learn how to look at my numbers, right? And
Mhm.
figure out that it is smarter for me to take on another retainer client rather than creating that course or template. I learned that from a course
Yeah.
that I took
Yeah.
online. So I
Yep.
think those are great, and there's a place for everything. But I think that the most rewarding part of what I do is that I've helped other women build their businesses, fulfill their dreams, and their products are in turn helping other women in their daily lives. Um, and that's fun to see.
Yeah. Oh, I bet. I bet.
Yeah.
That's cool. So who
Yeah.
do you work with today that you admire the most?
Gosh, I can't pick one. It's like you can't pick your favorite kid, right?
Right.
So,
Yes.
I think all of my clients are amazing at what they do. They each have a unique style, design, and a unique kind of position on what their company does,
Yeah.
Um, and they've grown. And it's like you can think of the planner world as being a saturated market.
Mhm.
There's, a million planners, the shelves of Target, and all of that. But my clients have specific things, they're
Mhm.
either a life coach or specifically making planners for people with ADHD or moms or, um, I've worked with chiropractors and lawyers helping make planners specifically for their clients or
Mhm.
other, lawyers training other lawyers on how to move up in their careers.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just, I admire all of them for building what they've built. And I do take a little bit away from either one. We get into conversations, we can be talking about creating a new planner or sticky note or whatever it is, but we also have those business conversations. And it's very
Yeah.
interesting to brainstorm with them on how they're running their operations for social media versus, how I do it or don't do it when
Mhm.
it comes to social media.
Yep.
Um, and taking little tidbits. It's,
Yep.
it, they've helped me grow too.
Mhm.
So it's,
Yeah.
it's fun to collaborate, and so I admire them all.
Yeah, that's cool. I love it.
Yeah.
What is the most rewarding part of your entrepreneurial journey?
I think, kind of what I was just saying, seeing the products that I make
Mhm.
in the hands of other people, um, seeing them on the shelves in stores, seeing those social media posts of like this meal planner changed my life, and it's true. I mean, I use the Mom Agenda meal planner every single week, and it literally changed my life. It
Yeah.
stopped the what's for dinner question, and that question makes my skin crawl. But
Yeah.
if you put that planner on the fridge, then you have the kids coming into the kitchen going, "Oh, yes, we're having my favorite chicken tomorrow night," or "I can't
Yep.
wait till Thursday for, whatever it is." So it then makes um, dinner something that they look forward to finding
Mm-hmm.
out what it is, um, more than asking me the question that drives me
Nice.
bonkers. So
Yes.
anyway, those life-changing stories, I love to see them. And, if we can make people's desks a little prettier,
Let's do
then
it.
that's good too.
Yeah. I'm down. I love it. So this is the final question I ask for all guests, but what's one
Yeah.
thing you wish you knew when you started your entrepreneurial journey?
Oh, I really wish I knew that some days you just want to burn it all down. I like, right? You think, I'm going to start this business. It's going to be wonderful. And I'm going to work out in the middle of the day. And I'm going to take my Fridays off. And I'm going to work from the beaches in Hawaii. And it's like, no. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, some people can do that. And that's great.
Mm-hmm.
Good for them. I I need to have a conversation with them and figure out how they did it. But there's a lot of days, things will go wrong. And I'm like, why? You start
Mm-hmm.
to doubt yourself. Can I get through this? Am I smart enough to navigate this challenge?
Mm-hmm.
And then some days you just really wish that you worked at Starbucks and could clock in and clock out,
Yeah.
So I think knowing that going in would have made it a little more realistic. But then
Mm-hmm.
again, would I have done it had I known?
Yeah. Would you have
So,
actually taken the leap?
right.
Yep. Yeah, I can relate for sure.
Yeah.
So if people want to reach out, Heather, to learn or to reach out to you specifically or Copper Bottom, how can they find you?
Yeah, absolutely. Our website is copperbottomdesign.com. And then everywhere on the internet, we abbreviate it. So it's copper and then BTM design. So that's on Instagram and YouTube, um, and Pinterest. That's mostly where we hang out. I have
Sweet.
a library of some good educational YouTube videos if you want to check those out.
I have seen them and have sent them to a client of mine once saying, hey, here's what you need. This is a great summary, saved my time and
Thank
exactly what they
you.
needed. So it was like,
Perfect.
how do you vet a supplier in
Mm,
China?
hmm.
Excellent
Yeah.
content.
Yep.
So highly
Thank you.
recommend. And yeah, thank you, Heather, for joining me today. I
Yeah,
really appreciate
absolutely.
it. You have such a fun business. I wish I had the talent to make planners and that sort of thing. I feel like if I would have known you were out in the world like 10 years ago, I probably would have started a planner company out of college because I was like, I need a different planner. Um
It's not too late. You can
it's
do
true.
it. It's
I
not,
could.
it's
It's
never
not
too
too late.
late.
It's always in the back of my head. I've been thinking recently, like, there's certain things I need for running my own business that I feel like are not quite out there.
Hmm.
Um, mix and match like all the different things that I think are good and bring them into one. But that's, I'm sure,
That's
what
what I
keeps
do
you in
every day.
business. Yes. So awesome. Well,
Yeah.
thank you again. I really appreciate your time.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks for tuning in to this episode of The Entrepreneur's Blueprint. I hope you found inspiration and insights to fuel your entrepreneurial journey. If you're looking for support in building or scaling your business profitably, visit my website or send me an email to learn more about how I help mission-driven businesses become more profitable, proactive, and efficient. If you enjoyed today's episode, please take a moment to leave a review on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. It really helps other entrepreneurs discover the show, and it would mean so much to me as well. Until next time, keep building, keep dreaming, and keep going.